This is a 2022 Honda Civic Touring, and it's finally been redesigned inside and out, and there are more changes than you might actually expect. For almost 50 years in the US, the Honda Civic has been one of the go-to compact sedans for compact buyers and some even mid-sized buyers because it's so practical and spacious for its size. And today we're going to take a look at everything on the outside, check out the inside, take this for a test drive, and see everything that's new on this 2022 Honda Civic. And you might even learn a couple things that you haven't heard yet. Let's get started. Now, real quick before we get started on this review, my name is Nolan. I do full reviews every single week, so subscribe if you want to see more, but also a huge thank you and shout out to Honda Cars of Rockwall for getting this ready as soon as it hit the lot to let me take it out and show you guys. So if you're in the DFW area in the market for a new Honda, please be sure to check them out, and in particular, ask for Janet. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and start on the exterior. And this is the Touring model, which is the top end model, but I'm gonna touch on points on the other models too. So starting right up front, you'll see that this is indeed redesigned. I like the look. It's a little bit lower up front. It's very sleek, a little bit more modern looking if you ask me. And I love how we don't have the chrome bar running across the front anymore. Now, Honda gives you LED headlights standard. We've got LED daytime running lights. And check that out, we even have an LED blinker here. The LED daytime running light runs up and down on the side, plus the full LED high and low beams. And then you even get LED fog lights on this Touring model, those little lights down below. And you can even see parking sensors up here for just this Touring model. Now the paint on this one is the Platinum White Pearl, which is a nice, pretty, metallic-y paint for Honda. I really like this white paint. What do you guys think? And what do you think of this new design? It's low, it's long, and it just looks a little bit more modern. Honda wanted to go with what they quote is thin and light for a low hood, fenders, and a low horizontal belt line for just a simpler design overall. And as we zoom in for the wheels, they're gonna range from 16-inch on the base model to 17-inch on the EX, all the way up to 18-inch wheels here on the Touring. And you've got the shark gray glossy color inserts on this Touring model. And with these 18-inch wheels, you're also going to get 235 40 series tires. Another little feature here is we get some paint on our mirror cap, so it's nice to not have a flat black or gloss black here. You've got LED turn signals on just the Touring model, and the actual mirror itself will be heated on the EX and Touring, but not the lower trims. And then you'll see a little chrome up top above the windows. I think it ties in well with the rest of the car and with the wheels. And dimensionally, this is 183.3 inches long. It's just a tad longer than the last generation and the same in terms of width, but Honda actually upgraded the chassis and body rigidity to give it improved dynamics. And in the back of the car, you're gonna see a revised taillight design. I definitely like this rear end more than the current Civic. And zooming in, you've got some LED parts to the brake light, the tail light, but the incandescent turn signal sits right there. So not full LED back here like it is up front, but a little bit more of a subdued design and some tucked exhaust pipes. Plus you can see those circles, those are rear parking sensors on the Touring model. All right, now taking a look at the trunk, very little has changed. On everything but the base model, you'll have a little touchpad that you can press to pop that trunk up. And one nice touch is that we actually have a little grab handle right here. That is cool. The hinges are completely exposed, so something to consider when loading your luggage. Now this is just a tad bit smaller than the last generation. And if I just throw just a backpack back here, this Civic trunk will swallow up a lot of big luggage, small luggage. You've got good space behind the wheel wells on both sides, which is good to see as well. And overall, it's just some really nice space. You lose just a little bit of space with the Touring because of the subwoofer. One awesome thing is that every single model, even the base, is going to give you a spare tire standard. And this does have split folding seats, so you can fold those seats down in a 60-40 fashion and get even more space. But for a compact car, this is a really good sized trunk. All right, so as we take a look at the key fob, this is actually a redesigned key fob. It still is similar. You still have remote start on here, but it's just different. It's a little bit more slim and doesn't quite feel so heavy. Now, push button start is standard on every trim, but this smart key is only on the Sport model and up, which includes remote start. And the way the smart key system works is there's a couple of lines on the door you can press to lock it, or there's just a sensor in the back to unlock it. And one more little nugget, two more little nuggets actually. So if you have the key fob on you, shut the door, you can have the car automatically lock as you walk away. So I'm gonna walk away. Once you get a certain distance away, boom, it automatically locks. You saw the mirror, and check this out. Press the unlock button, then press the unlock button again and hold it. And look at that. The windows and the sunroof all open up just with the key fob. Instead of remote starting your vehicle to cool it off, you could just do that, let all the windows down and get this vehicle cooled off a little bit before you get there. Okay, so taking a look at these front seats, Honda actually gives you a brand new seat design, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, and comfort and all that. Now you can see this is leather, but the base, or every model except the Touring, is going to give you cloth manual seats, but this Touring model gives us this full leather. So this looks nice, this feels nice. There are perforations in here, but this is not a ventilated seat. You've got good bolstering around here. It feels nice, good bolstering down here as well. And you've got an 8-way power adjustment, including tilt and height, but you will not find adjustable lumbar support or memory settings. So I'm definitely bummed about no lumbar support. Now, comfort with these seats does seem good. I've had limited time in here, so I can't really vouch on that. But compared to a couple generations ago with the Civic, these are much better. And I owned one of the older Civics, and I really like these seats, the way that they've done with them. The headrest is not intrusive. The shaping is good. I just wish there was adjustable lumbar support, but I'm 5'9", and I can lower the seat way down to where if you're mid 6 foot, you can probably still fit in here pretty good. And if you need even more headroom, the LX and the Sport that don't have the sunroof will give you a couple more inches of headroom. And if you want heated seats, that will be on the EX and the Touring, at least in the US. You cannot get it on the LX or the Sport. And here's one extra little nugget that Honda changed for 2022. They gave us the next generation new design front airbags. So they're supposed to be improved to help prevent brain injuries and neck injuries. So thank you for paying attention to safety, Honda. All right, taking a look at the back seat, you're gonna get, of course, full leather, just like you do with the front seats in this Touring model. And there is a little bit more hip room, headroom, and shoulder room, and legroom stays about the same. And it was already pretty darn good for this class. And up on the door, you do still get cheap material up here, something you probably expect in this class, but soft material here, soft armrest, and a good storage bin or bottle holder. Now, sitting behind myself at 5'9", I've got good foot space. I've got good knee space too. Honda definitely has always done good with legroom in this, the Accord and the Civic. And just for reference, if you want to see a taller person, like 6'4", Kelly Blue Book's video channel has a 6'4" person sit in the front, and then he sits behind himself, and it's tight. So just for reference, you can check that out. And below the center console, you get 2 USB charging ports. But one thing you won't see are air conditioning vents back here. Directly, at least, there are rear seat heater ducts. Otherwise, you have to rely on those. And then in the middle right here, you get a fold down armrest, but this is only on the top 2 trims. This is not on the base or the Sport, but it's got cup holders and a padded armrest. And then, like I said, 5'9", sitting up tall, I can touch, and I can just barely feel my hair touch, but my head's not pushing into the ceiling or anything, so that is awesome. And one more little bonus, just like the front seats, Honda upped the safety back here. For the first time ever with the Civic, you now get rear mounted airbags, or side mounted airbags in the back. They're right here, right next to you, so they can protect the side and your torso. And taking a look at the interior, Honda wanted a modern design with a high-tech, human-centered interior that is simplistic and still practical like Civics always have been. Now, first things first, foot on the brake, push button start on every single trim. You got to start up there, and you've got this new big screen over here. Every model but the base will give you a leather-wrapped steering wheel, and it does feel nice. It's got little sport grips on the side. It's got all the necessary controls for volume, voice controls, radio controls, cruise controls, pretty much everything that you need to on the steering wheel. And it is tilt and telescoping manually with a pretty good range of motion. Then over on the door, Honda gives you nice soft material up above, this kind of glossy black trim, and then soft material down here by your arm, and actually a really good size armrest considering this class of a vehicle. It is padded, good grab handle, and the front 2 windows, just the front 2, are automatic one touch. Those are on every trim though, which is nice. And then down here, you've got good storage area right here and a bottle holder. Let's test it out. And does it work? Well, I guess it could just sit there like that and it would probably be okay. Otherwise, a lot of bottles will probably fit. Mine fits in there. You just got to wedge it in there. Then you get a button to open up your trunk right there. Then just to the inside, you've got interior brightness controls, a unique honeycomb looking air vent right there. I'll show you more on that in a little bit. And then check it out. You've got your safety systems that you can pop up here. Even parking sonar for the front and the back of the car, which is just on the Touring trim, and your traction control button. Now, another thing with the Sport and the Touring, I believe just the Sport and the Touring, is you'll get paddle shifters. So you've got paddle shifters on here, and check it out. You even get rain sensing automatic windshield wipers on just the Touring model. And then as we look in front of us, check it out. Honda gives us, on this Touring model, this 10.2-inch digital display. It'll be just a 7-inch screen on the rest of them, which is still a good size. So as you can see, on the left, you've got your temperature, and on the right, you've got your fuel gauge, and then in the middle, you've got everything digital, including the digital speedometer right up front. And you can customize what you see using the steering wheel. So first of all, to give you an idea of what all you can see, let's see, go to hide and show. And this is all the stuff you can choose from on what you want to see or don't want to see on here too. So there's a lot of different things that you can scroll through. You can even change the gauges a little bit to have like a round design like we have, or a bar design, which is kind of unique. So you can decide what you want, or you can have it be a little bit more minimalistic with the round or the bar design. And then you can use the steering wheel to toggle through everything that you need to right here. And this car literally just got checked in, so low fuel, maintenance mode, all of that. But you've got a lot of necessary information on here. And then as we come over here, before I tell you about this screen, the standard screen will be a 7-inch touchscreen on every trim but the Touring, with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 4-speaker or 8-speaker system. But this one right here is just on the Touring. This is a 9-inch touchscreen, and this Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is actually wireless. So check it out. I don't have anything plugged in right here, nothing plugged in back here. The plug for Apple CarPlay is actually right there, and that's the parking sensor going on. But you can have it wireless on this top Touring trim, which is cool. Just like the new Accord gives you wireless Apple CarPlay. It is touchscreen, and it fits everything just fine on here. We go back to Honda, and then this still looks just like the older Hondas. It doesn't take long at all to get used to this. There's quite a bit of stuff you can customize with your settings, and we don't have a lot of physical buttons, but you do still have a couple. You got home, back button, and a volume knob, and a seeking button right here. So at least you do have a few physical buttons. If you want navigation, for example, you have to go up to this Touring model. And same goes with Sirius XM and HD radio. Those are only on the Touring. But one thing I like about this is this little ledge right here, because you can rest your hand and have more controlled and accurate touches on the touchscreen. And another thing that is new is Honda now gives us the first ever BOSE 12-speaker sound system with a subwoofer. So you actually have BOSE system in this Touring model. Now I took a recording with binaural audio, so go ahead and plug your headphones in and we can take a listen to this BOSE sound system. And then another thing, as we shift into reverse, Honda still gives you your 3 different views. So you've got a wide view, a more narrow view, or a straight down view. And the resolution is definitely not very good. I think it's probably a little bit fuzzy right now, also because it's not that clean. But resolution's not great. But you do get rear cross traffic alert on this trim level. And you get dynamic lines as well when you turn the steering wheel. Now as we come down, check this out. Your air conditioning vent is actually this honeycomb design. That is really unique. I don't know if it's going to be a problem with dust and stuff, but these little levers sticking out actually are how you control your vents and open them up. And they feel really solid. They even have a nice click to them when you move them. And these knobs right here have a nice solid feeling to them as well. So the air conditioning vent is completely concealed. Definitely a more modern and minimalist design. And down here, We have dual zone climate control. The top two trims will give you dual zone, but you'll get automatic single zone climate control on the bottom two trims. Plus, you can see our heated seat button, 3 different tiers right there. Fan speed, temperature, you can do it however you want. Very simple and easy to use, and it feels solid. And then down here, you've got 2 USB charging ports. One is for your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and both of them will charge. And then you've got a 12-volt power outlet over there. Plus, you even get wireless charging right here on the Touring model. So you can have your phone wireless charging and have wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto going at the same time, or you can just use this as a good storage bin. Then coming back even more, the shifter is leather wrapped on everything but the base model too. We actually have a drive mode button right here. So you can toggle between Eco, Normal, and Sport. And Honda even gives you a little graphic on the screen. So Eco, Normal, and Sport mode, and we'll go through that in the test drive. And every trim level even gives you electronic parking brake and brake hold, and then here's your button for your auto stop start for the engine. The cup holders are both good sized. This one in front is a little bit taller, and this one is a little bit lower. So you can have shorter drinks, taller drinks, everything should fit just fine in here. This armrest is nice and soft. You've got nice padding on here. You've even kind of got this stitching on the sides. It doesn't scoot forward and it doesn't scoot up. It's in an okay spot, but I wish it was a little bit higher. Lift it up, you've got good storage down here, and this little tray can move from that spot to this spot, or you can completely take it out. Now for the glove box, Honda gives you a soft opening glove box, but it does not lock. And then overhead, Honda gives you an automatic dimming rearview mirror with garage controls down here on just the Touring model. And then even right here, the sunglass holder is only on the Touring model as well. So that's a little bit disappointing. I'm not sure why, but it's just on the Touring model. And as for the moonroof, you've got this manual shade right there. It's just normal size, and this is on the EX or the Touring. One nice thing about these visors is that the entire visor will slide out, so you don't got to deal with that. One interesting note is that this vanity light is only on the top two trims, EX and Touring. And Honda made improvements with visibility too. Cars' visibility has definitely gone downhill lately, but this pillar right here is really narrow. You got good visibility out the front. And then as we turn around and look out the back, these windows actually feel nice and large, a little bit bigger than normal. Even though the rear window is scrunched down, visibility is not too bad in here. Now let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. And some of you enthusiasts may be wondering, did they improve things? Did they change things? Well, there are some little improvements in both power and efficiency. The lower two trims, the LX and the Sport, both get the 2-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. But the other ones, the EX and the Touring here, get the turbocharged engine. This turbocharged engine is the same 1.5-liter direct injected turbocharged engine with a little bit more power at 180 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque, and it is still paired with the CVT transmission and front-wheel drive standard. That CVT transmission is something we'll talk about in the test drive. There's no manual option, no regular automatic option, at least on the sedan. Efficiency did get an improvement though overall. So the Touring here gets 31 city, 38 highway, and 34 miles per gallon combined. Now if you move down just one trim level to the EX with the same turbocharged engine, you're gonna get up to 42 miles per gallon on the highway. That's the most efficient Civic sedan that you can get. All right, let's go ahead and get behind the wheel of this 2022 Honda Civic. But first, with the features, a couple things I want to make a note of is the top couple trims give you blind spot monitoring that you see in the mirror. So you've got actual blind spot monitoring. Honda sensing is standard, which is that radar-based cruise control, the automatic emergency braking, the lane keeping system to prevent you from leaving your lane. Things like that are standard on the Civics. All right, now I would have to say my first impression, this is my very first time driving, or my first day driving this 2022 Honda Civic, so I haven't had a lot of time. So first impressions is that it feels similar to the last Civic. I don't think the steering feels quite as light as the last one, because the last one was really light. This still has a nimble feeling, but it almost feels a little bit more planted, or feels just a little bit more substantial, I think is a good way to put it, compared to just even the 2021 models. And compared to about 10 years ago Honda Civics, it's a vast difference in the way it feels, it just feels like much more of a nicer car, more substantial and solid feeling overall. Now right off the bat, as we get going, we'll get on it a little bit more later, and I'll talk about the CVT transmission, this turbocharged engine, and whether you should maybe go for the turbo or the naturally aspirated engine. But with the braking, the feeling of the brake pedal is good. It's not too touchy, it's not real soft, it just is good. And that's always been the case with the Civic, in my opinion. And acceleration is pretty much effortless. I mean, this turbo doesn't take much pedal to really get this car moving, especially with this turbocharged engine. It's a very peppy car for the class, and Honda said they made some enhancements to the structure and the rigidity of this car, which is supposed to improve its dynamics with its driving and even the comfort of the ride, with absorbing things and not being quite a bumpy ride. Now some pedal. And that was just partial throttle, and it gets you going pretty quick. And I've been on this road with the older Civics, and I would say that this feels a little bit softer, a little bit more planted than those last ones. The last ones were not bumpy by any means, but maybe a little more firm. This still has an independent suspension in the back, just like the last generation. But kind of going with the way it looks a little bit more modern, a little bit more upscale. It kind of has a more premium feel to it, driving it, because it seems to be a little bit quieter, it seems to be a little bit softer, and just to have more substantial feeling. The steering is still light, but not quite as light and tossable as the last generation. And this is just kind of rough feedback, because I haven't been able to drive them back to back, but just off my first impressions. Another note on the steering is that Honda did in fact update its steering tuning, so that's probably what I'm feeling with it. Still feeling good, but not being super lightweight. The Civic can still be one of those fun cars that, you know, people like to get to toss around, be a good daily driver at the same time, and have the pep and efficiency that you get with this turbocharged engine. You're not going to be quite as peppy or as efficient with the naturally aspirated engine, but you might argue that it could be a longer lasting, more reliable engine, but only time will tell. All right, I just put it in sport mode. All right, and that CVT took just a minute, or the turbo took just a minute to get us some boost. A little bit of pedal again. You need to wait just a bit, then it gives you the power. And that CVT does kind of wind up. Most of you probably won't even care or won't even know what kind of transmission it has or tell the difference anyways. It's going to mimic some shifts, but it's not going to feel exactly the same as a manual, obviously, or a regular automatic, but it just works in this car and it's efficient. We're still in sport mode. Acceleration is effortless, like I said. Partial throttle, a little more. All right. Yeah, the Civic is gonna get you going. Just put it back in normal mode very quickly, effortlessly, and easily, especially in city driving, because you don't really have to put the pedal down too much. But hopefully I can get one of these cars to do a week-long review where I can do a night video, my pros and cons with it, and talk more about the daily driving. But daily driving, Honda still has done a good job of making this practical. The screen is easy to reach. Everything down here is easy to control. There's good storage in here. These seats are comfortable in this short period of time that I've been in here. I just wish there was lumbar support, but controls wise, I mean, it's just an easy car to live with. That screen is very clear in front of us with that new display. The steering wheel is also comfortable to hold on to and leather wrapped, but let's go ahead and wrap things up. So to wrap things up on this 2022 Honda Civic with its redesign, this touring model in particular is going to be really hard to beat in this class, considering all the space, the features, the performance, the Honda brand. There's just a lot that you can like about this car. Now, talking about trim levels, the base LX and the sport model really don't give you a lot of features for the money like some competitors might, but this Touring and even the EX can really give you quite a bit of nice features paired with the turbocharged engine, this power that it has, and all the space inside. So what do you think of this 2022 Honda Civic? Do you like the redesign? Do you love the redesign, or do you not like it? Leave your comments down below. Again, I think the Civic is going to be hard to beat. It's so well rounded, and like I said, there's just a lot to like. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Honda Cars of Rockwall, and I appreciate you watching. Subscribe if you like this video, and we'll see you next time.